minutes later, they said not guilty. These wonderful white people, I hope they celebrate their Christmas while the Neely family is praying and asking God for
Me too.
comfort. Goddamn them and goddamn America.
Fuck off, you jig cunt. Oh, God. Goddamn America. Yeah, first of all, that one's been done before. We've heard that one before. Obama's fucking clergyman. Obama's minister threw that one out a few years ago, remember? How did Obama divide the country? By having his the guy that is his spiritual counsel saying, "God damn America." Maybe that's it. So she's ripping that off. Hoo-hoo, Robin. And, you know, the whole idea that if Daniel Penny was a black man and, you know, he'd be arrested and go through the system and prison. I just spoke about a case that was around the same time where a black guy stabbed a man to death on the train. And he got off on self-defense because he said that guy was harassing someone. The guy, he said he struck his girlfriend. I don't know. That certainly doesn't sound like a case of self-defense. Sounds like you escalated it into deadly physical force, but I'm not complaining. He killed some fucking piece of shit on a train. But he gets self-defense, and he literally was the cause of killing the guy on the train, and they didn't even arrest him. Then you get Daniel Penny, who obviously so many other circumstances. He was still alive when Daniel Penny let him go and gave him over to police custody. But that's, you know, they just don't know. These protesters, the parents, the people, the Black Lives Matter people, they are ignorant, low IQ dopes that just don't understand how things work. Just try to get a monkey to understand the legal system. That's pretty much what you're trying to do. Here is the father, Neely's father, on a news interview. Yeah, this is another one where, now let's get this straight first. This is a father who abandoned his son when his son was 8 years old, was out of his life. The kid then grows up to have numerous legal problems, psychological problems, drug problems. And he is given chance after chance after chance, arrested so many times. Every time he doesn't have to go to jail, he is given a program. He, at one point, you know, they talk about him, how he was homeless and a drug addict. They gave him a place to live. The court system said, we need to get this guy into a shelter and get food and clothing and take care of him psychologically, mental health. The guy left after a week on his own accord, just walked out. So fuck that. They did try to help. He was left alone. He was sick. He was this. There's always some excuse to these motherfuckers. He's a piece of shit. He was a piece of shit. Another black martyr who's just a biggest piece of fucking shit. And we're rid of him, and it's a good thing, and they got to hoist him up like a god, like George Floyd. Where's the statues? The Jordan Neely statues. So here's the dad, who, you know, the latest ghetto lotto winner. The guy also, by the way, he had a civil suit filed before the verdict even came out. So he's already suing for wrongful death to try to, you know, monetize his beloved son's death. A guy that didn't even know who this fucking guy was. So let's watch.
Aspect of this do you feel that the jury didn't take into account?
That Jordan was a person. That's the only way that you can see this situation and say,
could you pause it a minute?
That he did.
This is what I mean when I say they're ignorant. They're ignorant. They don't know how the court works. What do you think? What was that? that he was a person. I think they understand he was, technically a humanoid, a person, a human being on the planet. I think they get it. But look how they fucking talk. They needed to realize that he was a person. Emotion, nonsense, drivel, nothing that has any bearing on the case itself. They're fucking idiots. Racist, white-hating, ignorant idiots. All right.
Did not deserve the justice that we were seeking on the criminal side is if you don't think he was valuable enough to do it. The only way you can say that is Jordan was scary. He came on, he scared some people on the train. That could be true. But at some point, you have to be a human and have humanity and say Daniel Penny could have let go before Jordan died. He continued to choke him 50 seconds after he was lifeless. He continued to choke him. There's no reason for that. And there's no reason for a jury to say that that's not criminal behavior. It is.
Mr. Zachary, tell us about your son, what you miss most about him.
Well, I miss his voice.
You didn't hear his voice.
I miss being around him.
You weren't around him.
I miss him dancing.
If you could talk to Daniel Penny directly, what would you say?
Why you didn't say you were sorry, man?
Why? Could you pause?
Come on.
Why you didn't say you sorry? Why you didn't say you sorry? And by the way, why would he? Why would he? He didn't do anything wrong. Why he didn't say you? I can't even say it like he did. All right, continue.
Man, why you didn't say nothing?
Would that have mattered?
It sure would have.
Well, Mr. Zachary, I'm sure it's not the same, but we do want to say we're sorry for the...
Yeah. And what? He's going to jeopardize his case? Saying you're sorry indicates that maybe you had some responsibility in the guy's death. Maybe the plain and clear answer is he's not sorry because he knows what he did was the right thing to do at the moment. We see what happens on these trains when no one steps in. People get hurt, they get robbed, they get raped, they get murdered. He stepped in. Dumb move. I always say that. Dumb fuck move. Don't step in. Walk away. Don't care what's happening. Ain't worth it. Not these days. You're looked at as a fucking race criminal. The Klansman. He's a Klansman. And his life is fucked now. It's not like, he's not going to pay for having gone through this. It's terrible. Fucking terrible. Now let's hear from the mother. Again, just these people, it's like it's 2024, in case you forgot. When you hear these black people speaking, it sounds like they took a time machine. They went back to 1840, went to a plantation, plucked a couple of Negroes, put them back, went in the time machine, back to 2024, and they're speaking in an old slave vernacular. They sound like blithering, uneducated idiots. I don't know what it is with black people, that they can't get the speech pattern of a civilized person, of a person living in a civilized Western society. They just, maybe body booty bow, body booty booty bow. Listen to this idiot with, I have no clue what is on her head. I hear tell it's a wig. Look at that fucking wig on her head. She went out like this and thought nothing of it, that it's fine. But here's another Ignat 1850 sounding slave speaking to the media.
They did not give justice to my son with the chokehold. I fought hard to get the anti-chokehold bill passed, which did pass. But it shouldn't only be for police officers, it should be for civilians also. No one deserves to be choked to death.
No one.
He was.
And you know, we're in that courtroom and people are cheering for the verdict. They made the loudest noise. The judge did nothing. But when his father spoke out, they put him out the courtroom. Is that justice?
Yeah.
Or what? So that means that any civilian could get on the train if they feel threatened, and they could choke someone out and they're going to get found not guilty, just like today. This sets a precedent. And we can't let this happen.
No, see, they always get it wrong. It's the same thing when they get pulled over and they escalate it. Like the officer goes, well, you didn't use your directional. And then the guy escalates. And before you know it, he's taking a swing at the cop. And then they lock him up and he's like, all this for a blinker? 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 And you know, they repeat everything. And this is exactly that. Oh, so now if someone gets on a train, another person could just choke them and they, like if they're annoying people or something. No. If they're threatening people. If people feel like their safety is being threatened, I believe you can hold them for the police. Again, let's understand that Daniel Penny was holding this guy down until the police got there. You can do that. You can do that. And if the guy dies in your custody, you know, it should be looked at, but I think a grand jury can decide and not instantly go, oh, he's white and the dead guy's black. Well, we got to go to trial. You know, they just don't do that. Let's hear from the NAACP. A statement. This is a written statement by the here it is. The acquittal of Daniel Penny in the death of Jordan Neely has effectively given, they always do, license for vigilante justice to be waged on a black community without consequence. Again, can you maybe add a little more drama to it? It's a painful reminder of the inequities in our justice system. Jordan deserved compassion. Instead, he was met with violence. We stand with his family in calling for accountability. There was accountability. He was being violent on the train. He was subdued. He died from drugs and medical problems. And Daniel Penny was acquitted of all charges. Sounds good to me. Sounds like justice was served to me. They never want to take into consideration what these pieces of shit have done to other people's lives over the years. This lump of fuck punched an old lady in the face and broke her nose and her eye orbital socket. And this guy's a violent piece of shit. And they just make him out. What do they show? They show him in his faggot with his dad because it's the last pictures ever with his fucking dad. Oh, God, enough. Just enough already. It's so good. I hope this is like a little light at the end of the tunnel of normalcy to where real justice happens like this. Cocksuckers. And then, you know, how about this? Man robbed